Another geometry video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to write the equations of perpendicular bisectors. In the last video, we did one of these already. This thing that we did, exercise 4, that was a perpendicular bisector. Because what we did is we created a line that was perpendicular to another line, and it went through the midpoint. The midpoint is the halfway point. To bisect something means to cut it in half. So when you want to create a perpendicular bisector, that means you're creating a line that passes through the midpoint that has an opposite reciprocal slope to your original. Okay, so that's what you need to remember. And you know what? Let's write it at the top. Perpendicular bisector has to pass through the midpoint and have an opposite reciprocal slope. So a new line that passes through the midpoint of an old line, but with an opposite reciprocal slope. All right, so let's do it. Write an equation of a line that is the perpendicular bisector of the line segment having endpoints 3, -1, and 3, 5. Uno, dos, tres, -1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, well, if I want the perpendicular bisector, it's got to go through the middle and have an opposite reciprocal slope. So, step 1, find the midpoint. This is vertical. Let's just count the midpoint. So, I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, my midpoint would be up 1, 2, 3. There's the midpoint. That is the point 1, 2, 3, 2. And it's driving me crazy that these don't have letters, so I'm going to give them letters because I can, and no one can stop me. So there's my midpoint, M. Identify the slope. That's a vertical line. Therefore, it is undefined. Identify the perpendicular slope. We had said in the last video, the perpendicular slope to undefined is 0. So if I want to draw the perpendicular bisector, I just use a slope of 0, which is horizontal, and go like that. That's a perpendicular bisector. Okay, don't make it any harder than it is. Now, it's going to get harder when we have slanted lines, but when you have vertical or horizontal lines, you can just sketch in the perpendicular bisector and write the equation. Don't make life harder on yourself. What would the equation of that line be? Well, it's horizontal, so that passes, it's a y equals thing, and it passes through 2, so that would be y equals 2. Okay? The definition of a perpendicular bisector is a line passing through the midpoint of a segment with a slope that is the opposite reciprocal slope compared to the segment. So technically, when we find the midpoint in the opposite reciprocal slope, we have to work with the original segment first, find that original segment's slope and midpoint, and then just take the opposite reciprocal. That's it. So let's do some more. Write the equation of a line that's a perpendicular bisector of the line segment having endpoints -2, 7, and 8, -1. Okay, guess what, guys? We're only going to do one of these, okay? And then we're done with this video. So write an equation of the perpendicular bisector. So I need to create my segment, find its midpoint, find its slope, and then use the opposite reciprocal slope and the midpoint to find a new line. I'm going to do it. So -2, 7, and 8, -1. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to call that A. 8, I think this is 10 out, so 8 would be here, -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And I'm going to call that B. So here's my original segment. I need to find the midpoint. I'm going to use the midpoint formula. You could also count it. I might even do both. So midpoint formula is going to be add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 7 minus 1 is 6. Divided by 2 is 3. My midpoint appears to be 3, 3. which looks pretty good to me, and it rhymes. Howdy-doody. Sorry, this is whoever tries to entertain you during these videos. So there's my m. I got my midpoint. Yay! So now I need my slope. So slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is really plus. So -1 minus 7, that's a -8. 8 plus 2 is 10. So my slope is -8/10, which reduces to -4/5. So my original slope is -4/5. That means my new slope, my perpendicular slope, is going to be that opposite reciprocal, which is 5/4. So before I write the equation of the line, I'm going to graph the new line. So when I graph the new line, I'm going to start at 3, 3 and use a slope of 5/4. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4. And down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks pretty perpendicular to me, okay? But I don't actually hit the y-axis on a nice point. So I can't use slope-intercept form because I don't have a nice y-intercept. But who needs slope-intercept form anymore? Once you have point-slope form, slope-intercept form, nobody wants that guy. So I have 3, 3, and a new slope of 5, 4. I'm going to use point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Negate the point, put your slope in front of the parentheses, and you have the equation of the perpendicular bisector. If you're the type of person who really likes steps, I really need steps written down. Step 1, find the midpoint. Step 2, find the original slope. Step 3, take the opposite reciprocal, which gives you the perpendicular slope. And then step 4, use the midpoint and the perpendicular slope and point slope form to write the line. That's it. Cool, cool. Okay, so now we need another dumb joke today. And the dumb joke of the day is going to be, how do you get 4 elephants into a Mini Cooper? How do you get 4 elephants into a Mini Cooper? Easy. 2 in the front seat, 2 in the back seat. There's more to that joke, I promise. All right, have a great day, everybody.